what's going on. Although right now all 4 bays are nice and full, but call and see. Pro Swing Cola on Twitter. You can learn a whole lot more. And we'll get you some phone numbers, 803-528-1617. And again, we're so easy. If you live in Northeast Columbia, you take the Strom Thurmond exit, the Walmart exit is what I'll tell you, right by Fort Jackson. Come on down the street. If you live in Spring Valley area, just take Trenum. Make it easy for yourself. Just take 2 notch to Trenum Extension. Come on
I'm
down.
glad you're here to give the instructions because I have not lived here long enough to be able to give anyone instructions. I'm directionally challenged as it
And
is.
if you live downtown, depending on which way, then you can also take Gervais to Trenum, or you can take Forest Drive. Your choice. It's super easy. Which I'm very excited
Simple.
about. Very excited about.
And very convenient for you. You are the real winner.
That's right.
And then if you get here early, and say that you came here because you heard us on the radio, I'll tell you where Jay Phillips lives.
Right down there. Right there, right down that way.
Get some great Halloween
where
candy
am I? I can't see where I am at this point. Yeah, that way. Let's just say that way. It's easy enough. All right, come see us.
I'll give you his address.
We're here until 6. They're here tonight until 10, and all day tomorrow as well as we celebrate the grand opening of the brand new Pro Swing. All right, come back on the other side of the break. Our good friend Langston Moore will join us. Lots of football to discuss. 5 huge games, 4 in the pros, and the big one Monday night to settle the first ever 12-team college football playoff national championship. Live at Pro Swing, it's the Postgame Show. And how apropos that while we're here at Pro Swing, I get to tell you as well about our great friends at Integrated Media. Guys like Michael and Nathan and David. Evan is here today, and so many other guys that do fantastic work when it comes to home theater. In fact, I see a few people in this very location that are also customers of Integrated Media, just like me. I know I say it a bunch. I don't know what I would do without Integrated Media at this point. They made everything more simple at my house, whether it's watching stuff. Again, I could turn the heat on and off when I'm at work, turn it back on before I leave. My house is nice and toasty when I get there. Or if you're on vacation, you can do some of those things. Outdoor system is amazing. Whatever you want in home theater, home security, and so much more, call Integrated Media, 803-948-8327. And I'm not even kidding. You want one of these golf zone simulators? Hey, if it's in your budget, they'll get it done for you. That's my good friends at Integrated Media. "19 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Friday. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay and Elijah with you, live at Pro Swing, the brand new location, Forest Drive, right across from Lowe's, right next door to Bonefish. Come say hey. We got a little guy over here, and I say little guy. What do you think? What get us? Is this kid like in first grade, maybe? Anyway,
he's younger. Young
there
fella.
is it looks on this golf zone. It looks like you're playing like putt-putt at like some kind of like castle land, but it's a golf course. And I want to do that.
It almost kind of looks like a golf course that you'd find on Viva Pinata, this one specifically. Great video game if anyone has ever played. If you want a nostalgia trip here, get you an Xbox 360 and play Viva Pinata.
Wow, that sounds fun.
Oh, man.
Do you just hit pinatas all the time? I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's kind of like Sims or I'm trying to think of like other Animal Crossing. Your kids play.
Yeah, they love it.
They have a Switch.
Love it.
See, like Viva Pinata was Animal Crossing before Animal Crossing was Animal Crossing, but on the Xbox 360 and with pinatas that were the animals.
Okay.
They're animals and pinatas at the same time.
That's fair.
It's one of those things, if you know, you know. You had to be there for it.
Well,
and buddy, I was there for it.
Evan, who works here and is one of the masterminds of putting all this together, said that might be the easiest course that Golf Zone has. And I get sign me up. Maybe I could shoot par on that.
That would be the only one I'd be able to shoot par. I'm a terrible golfer.
Well, we'll see.
Like, the only way anyone puts a golf club in my hand to hit on a course is if they want a good laugh. Because my relationship with golfing outdoors is that it's a good excuse to drink before noon.
That's fair. Langston Moore joins us now. Don't know what kind of golfer he is. When you were in the NFL, especially, I know a lot of guys like to go on the off day, Mr. Moore, and play 18. Maybe enjoy, some frosty refreshment or some such. Did you ever go do that, or are you like my good friend Deuce Staley and would just rather drive around in the cart for 18 holes?
I'm not doing any of that. And, I mean, it makes me sick. I mean, when I first went to the camp up there, training camp, it's like everything's on the line for me. I'm trying to make a roster. And then I look up and, like, all the entire quarterback room has their whole entire golf bags laid out in front of their little dorm. And they're shooting up the way to play the illustrious Georgetown, Kentucky public golf course, which again, is a dry county. So they really out there playing for real, Jay. Like, to say that
for the love of the game.
It wasn't a dry. Not to say that if it wasn't a dry county, that grown NFL quarterbacks would have not have been partaking in beverages in between two of their practices. But no, I would be shuffling off, and I'd be running to my room from the cab, trying to sneak an extra 15 minutes of sleep. And these guys out there, loosening up their bag like we hadn't been out there since 6:30 in the morning, but they just been over there working on their shoulder and rotator cuffs. So all I had to say, that's probably why I don't mess around with golf. Now I am invited to a whole bunch of charity events, and I just go out there and heckle people and, try to figure out a way to get some tips from the drink carts of folks and all those different things. Play first.
Well, that's all. It's more fun. It's more fun to heckle anyway. Although again, this little guy, I'm not going to heckle him, but I'll heckle some other people at some point. All right, I'm going to throw a question to you that I just threw to Elijah and the audience. Monday night, we're going to start there. Then we'll come back around to the pro games this weekend. Monday night, amount of pressure on both of these teams. How do you look at it? Is there any on Notre Dame? Is there a lot on Notre Dame? Any on where? How do you look at the pressure aspect of that matchup?
Oh, the pressure is all the way on Ryan Day and that dye job. Like, man, like I think there needs to be a pressure meter, like how sweaty and perspiration that dye job. Did he seal it right, or was he rushing? Did he pay attention to the detail? Maybe that's the way we can tell how detail oriented and how important this is to him, how strong and how tight his dye job is, and how much it can hold up. Because all the pressure, everything. I think I was listening to who was I listening to? Ben Hartsock or somebody earlier today, and they were just running that Lou Holtz clip back in it. Where's Lou Holtz at? And again, like, it's just funny, like, that's a year again removed, and here we are. My boy Lou's still going, still kicking strong, just had a birthday, and don't ever get in a fisticuffle words with Lou. Like, you gonna lose every time, man. This dude came from he came from an era that they're not making too many of those dudes. But I think all the pressure is on Ohio State. But they have been responding to this pressure. And I also feel like, I just told you last week, like Notre Dame feels like the iteration of Alabama, what we've seen in the playoff series since, Clemson's been in there, since this has been since the early mid-2000s. So I also feel like Notre Dame is playing with a lot of house money, and that can be kind of a dangerous thing. But I feel like on some point, like the offense is just going to sputter out because they are winning the kind of not completely Newt Rockney ways. They're not in the T formation as if Lou Holtz was out there. But I mean, if it gets to be a shootout, it's going to be tough. And we know Ohio State has a lot of weapons, and they can get to a shootout. And a team like that in Ohio State can get hot really fast and just start scoring points, and then it's over.
Yeah, Langston. I mean, my biggest hang up in this is I just don't know how Notre Dame's scoring points, man. I mean, the more I look at this matchup, the more that along like with the football on the field and Ryan Day wanting to give it to Lou Holtz, which I think Lou's going to be in attendance for the game too. So a little bit of drama added.
That's cool.
But I don't see how a team in Notre Dame whose average depth of target on passes has been hovering around 7 yards this year. They don't have like a downfield threat that a defense like Ohio State can pounce on an offense that can't threaten to stretch the field. And if they can't run the ball, I feel like I have a hard time seeing Notre Dame get more than 2 touchdowns on the board.
Right. They're going to have to steal a possession. They're going to have to do something defensively, and that's how they've been getting helped out. They've scored more touchdowns and 100-yard touchdowns, returns, and all those things. And that's, again, they've benefited from this 12-team playoff. We're not talking about a Notre Dame team. We're not talking about this. But this goes back to what your point talking about, Elijah, is like, a couple years ago when we played them in a bowl game, we had enough. I thought we had enough going into the fourth quarter to stave off a team that was pretty much kind of still the same iteration of what they were kind of 2 years ago when we met them in the bowl game. But they figured out a way to do that, whether it be just running, big chunking, gashing this plays, tight end. And that's what it feels like. They figured out ways to do it. But, like, it's one of those deals where, like, statistics and metrics are going to match up at some point, and those things just are not going to be there for you. Yes, you stole a possession last round. You got some turnovers. It seemed like y'all were going back and forth the previous playoff game with turnovers, and that kind of fell into the game plan of Notre Dame. But, like, I don't think you can rely on that. At some point, you got to hit those free throws. And when your free throw percentage is Shaq, when it comes to big explosive plays, don't look for that to happen on the biggest stage and the biggest night against a team that is very explosive. They're just going to have to try to figure out a way to mitigate and play a different type of game, and it's going to be really tough.
Well, you kind of lead me into my next question, and I was going to take you there anyway, so you just hit it. Do you feel, and especially if we come back to the pressure question or the lack thereof on Notre Dame, Langston, is this an opportunity? Look, you don't do a bunch of stupid trick plays like, whatever, like some 12-year-old playing Xbox, right? But
even though that's the fun thing to do.
Well, yeah, but do you feel like that they might have to do that? And again, if they're playing with any kind of house money, is there less risk in Notre Dame wanting to pull some rabbits out of the hat?
Well, I think it kind of has to feel like game flow. Again, it can't just be, because I don't like those game plans where it's like we're going for fourth down regardless on the first. Well, if you're backed up in your own fourth and 20, no, let's not be stupid because we put that on the board on Monday and here we are on game day and So no, if the opportunity presents itself, we win the kickoff, we do. There are things in there, and that's the thing about this Notre Dame team. It seems like wherever Marcus Freeman takes them, whether it's surprise onside or we're not getting explosive plays, guys just keep playing harder, keep stripping at the ball, and they answer. This team answers to that. But at some point, we're getting to the road is getting very, very narrow at the top of this crest. There's nobody's left. There's only 2 teams left. So again, the margin for error and all those different things is really going to be, you're really going to have to be very meticulous. But I think when Marcus looks down the field, or whether it's going to be, 4th and 3, maybe on the opposite side of the 50, we're going to go for it. Those guys aren't going to blink because they've been rocking with him that way. But just don't get into where it's just like you said, ESPN. You plan on unplugging the PlayStation if you don't get this 4th and 50 backed up on your 1-yard line, right? Like, no, this is the national championship game. So again, being smart and being diligent about it. But this seems to be true about everything except 2 instances: the NIU game and getting close to the first playoff game where Marcus Freeman tried to be slick and instead of kicking the field goal, he wanted to go for it. And thank goodness somebody called a timeout or something like that. So,
right.
But that is Marcus Freeman, and that might be the only hiccup, but maybe he's good for one game and he won't mess it up. And I don't feel like he has a propensity to mess it up, but there's those 2 examples that are out there, and they're very recent examples too.
That's fair. He's Langston Moore, the former Gamecock, longtime NFLer. Come back on the other side of the break. We'll get into the 4 big games this weekend. Speaking of pressure, who's got the most on them this weekend? I think you can make a lot of cases for maybe all but one game having tons of pressure on the participants. We'll do that and more. We are live at Pro Swing on Forest Drive on a beautiful Friday in the capital city. It's the Postgame Show. Talking a busy weekend of football, college technically on Monday. The weekend will be gone, but it's a long weekend for a lot of folks, ourselves included. We will not be on the air with you on Monday, back on Tuesday for a full recap of all of this. And, of course, big playoff weekend in the NFL. Jay and Elijah broadcasting live from Pro Swing. Thanks to Nathan and Michael and the crew for having us out. Grand opening today, and it looks fantastic.
This place rules.
It is. I'm telling you, they're going to get sick of me. That's their fault
for creating a place so cool that we want to hang out in.
Yeah, and again, it's right near my house. Have I mentioned that?
You haven't.
No, but it's right near my house, man.
Well, I in order for everybody to verify that you live close to here, I think you should give out your address on air.
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, Anytown Street, USA.
I don't think that computes. We'll get the crack staff to verify that.
As far as you know. Langston is with us as well. By the way, can you verify, sir? I threw it out on Twitter because I wasn't sure. You are or are not currently camped out in the parking lot of the Star awaiting the arrival of Deion Sanders as the new coach of the Dallas Cowboys? Ed, do we have Langston?
I think we lost him.
No, I'm here. Can you guys still hear me?
Oh, no, we did. There we go. Now we got it.
I was chuckling. I was saying, no, of course not, because, I mean, that's not where all the action is happening. All the action is happening probably on that super yacht or something like that, right? I mean, I think that's where we get that thing.
I don't want to know what happens on that super yacht, Langston.
No, I don't think anybody does.
Well, there's some NDAs that probably won't allow anybody to discuss.
You probably don't get on that thing without signing like 2 different NDAs. Yeah, well, we'll come back around to Deion in just a minute. All right, so we got Houston at Kansas City. We got Washington at Detroit. I know one of the big questions that we just talked about was pressure on a college participant, much more on Ohio State. I think we all agree on that. But tomorrow, more pressure on Kansas City to, keep it going and get to the three-peat, or more on Detroit because they just, if they're going to do it, they don't have what Kansas City has. Is that window, if you will, closing on the Lions? How do you look at the pressure for tomorrow's games?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of pressure on Detroit, more than I think a lot of people are kind of talking about. I'd be interested to see what kind of the tone and tenor is up there in Michigan right now in that area. But, I mean, just go back to what Dan Campbell said last year at the end of that heartbreaking playoff run. We don't know if we're going to be back next year. We don't know if this is going to be, we can't. And that's not hyperbole. This is a dude. I mean, it's.
Langston's got interrupted by somebody.
Ed Bird, live radio. If you got some feed coming through, can you pull that down for us?
We got a simulcast going on here.
I don't know what's happening here. Hey, sit tight.
We have been infiltrated.
Hey, there we go. All right.
Ed
Bird says
Zach Gelb has not heard the end of me.
All right. I don't know what just happened there.
I'm going to find him. I'm going to find Zach Gelb.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Langston, let's go again. The pressure mounting on the Detroit Lions is where we were before something else just happened.
No. I think it's to the Detroit Lions, and I mean, Dan Campbell put it on there last year at the end of the playoff run that we're not guaranteed to be back here. Now again, everything worked out, the coaching staff, all of those things, but it seems like it's even more brimming for this to be, again, you look up, you've been playing all this year, and then you look up in the fourth quarter, you might be down by 7 points, and you're like, oh, this might be over here in a minute. You know what I'm saying? And so that is the finicky part of all of the playoffs, and which ratchets it up. But I think there's more pressure on Detroit this week. Kansas City has been a team that's been doing this, they're getting the layoffs, but Kansas City's used to 20-something days since, 20-plus days since the Detroit Lions full roster has played. I mean, with a physical team, a lot of is always talked about with like timing and different things, but like the Detroit Lions, it might take a little while for them to wake back up and get into that physical tone and tenor that they've been used to and got them to where they are right now, got them home field advantage. But is it going to be too late? Is it going to be one of those things where the Commanders, who playing with house money, feel like, got Jaden Daniels very mature? Like, if you give them enough lead, will they milk this thing out? I don't know. And it feels like, I don't like the feeling in my stomach right now because they're very close, very, very close to Detroit Lions, but it feels like very, very far away. But for the Kansas City Chiefs, it feels like business as usual because this is what we do. We've been winning. We know how to handle all this stuff. And, oh, by the way, Andy Reid is very good in bye week.
All right. There's that again for a second. All right, it's gone. It's gone. That's good. Langston is with us here on this Friday afternoon. Do want to remind you, too, athletesandartists.net, the website. Check it out for all the latest on the Just a Chicken series of books, the new swag, the Beamer shirts. And they're there for everybody, right? Like all sizes included, yes?
Yes, for the husky and wide of all. We have a lot of elastic, Jay. We test these out on ourselves. Press Dorn has been getting skinny, so we got the skinny dad version, for that. So we got all of that out there, and yeah, appreciate all the support with that.
Yeah, athletesandartists.net. Check it out. The Fight Podcast, getting some love for remembering the Carolina Clemson game of 20 years ago, or the Butt and Gut Podcast. All that available and a whole lot more. Athletesandartists.net. Jaden Daniels going to Detroit tomorrow. I mean, this kid he's come on quick, but we saw a lot of that at LSU last year. There again, there feels like there's a lot of house money that Washington gets to play with tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is just them, Washington, resetting and putting winners and putting a culture of winning. We talk about this all the time, but like from the decision to get the new coach, from everything from top down to knowing who they want to get in the draft, all of those different things has just worked out very well. Now, again, the second iteration of their offensive coordinator from the Arizona Cardinals, I think he's learned a lot from dealing with somebody like a Kyler Murray, his kind of skill set. And I think obviously the temperament of Jaden Daniels and his skill set is a lot different, but still high flyers. And I think all of these things have been just a combination of things working out for the Commanders. And like you said, they won a playoff game. Just looking online, like they had a nice tribute to their quarterback, Doug Williams, today. So, I mean, just a lot of just genuine things. And there's the same thing over on the Detroit side. But again, this is when mistakes, there's a young guy, and I say young guy loosely because Jaden Daniels has played a lot of quarterback and played a lot of high-level quarterback in a lot of big stadiums. So, has he been able to control his temperament and all those different things? And it seems to be so because this team, just like I said, the Commanders give me a kind of an icky feeling in my stomach, and I wasn't feeling like this a couple weeks ago, and it's because of just the steadiness, the ability for McLaurin, all of these different things to get going, and on top of everything, man, Aaron Glenn has done a great job of like replacing the defense and half of the defense with injuries and all those different things. But like again, to my point previous segment, like at some point those free throw statistics the Shaq free throw statistics will come up. So like your second team defensive tackle this second round of the playoffs is not going to be as effective as the guy who was on the IR. But they've been doing magic with it. We'll see.
Come back on the other side. Langston will break down Josh and Lamar in Buffalo. The Ravens are the road favorite, and the Rams going across the country to take on the Eagles. We'll get that for you as we are live at Pro Swing on this Friday afternoon. It's the postgame show.
Okay.
New Belgium juice force is really good. 9.5%.
Yep. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay and Elijah with you here, as we still have this guy talking into us. So we're Ed's trying really hard to.
This is a different
We
type of
can.
fireman, Ed.
We
This is a different type of fireman, Ed. Not the Jets, the famous Jets fan,
Right.
fireman Ed. Our Ed Bird is being a fireman by putting out the fire that is happening with.
Yeah. So we apologize. Live radio. I know that's not fun when that bleeds over, but we're doing our best.
Zach Gelb's going to catch these hands. Good receivers playing on Saturday and
That's right.
Sunday, but that show better be ready to catch these hands.
Langston is with us for a few more minutes here as we break down this weekend's games in the NFL. The divisional round is upon us, and the one seeds, again, that we just talked about, Kansas City and Detroit are at home tomorrow. Sunday, Mr. Moore, Baltimore at Buffalo, Rams at Philly. Let's start with the LA game just real quick, because then I want to focus on what I think might be the marquee game of the weekend when it comes to that Ravens-Bills game. But Rams looked good the other day, man. Vikings did not. And Matthew Stafford's been through it. McVay's been through it. This Philly team really hasn't, even if they just won the Super Bowl a few years ago. Most of these guys weren't part of that. Is there any advantage, in your opinion, to the Rams and their core group tomorrow or on Sunday in Philadelphia, or, to Jalen and Saquon just present too much of a challenge?
And that's the thing, McVay, and with the combination of Stafford, that's a sick kind of duo. Because, again, McVay has a sick mind. When I say sick, I'm not saying that as a bad thing, a pejorative. It's just his memory is stupid. You say, what happened week 17, third quarter? And he's like, yeah. Blah, blah, blah. And so that somehow translates to Matthew Stafford, and they have this magical formula with very limited talent that you should think would be man, why are these dudes in the playoffs? But they figure out different ways where you can't really put your thumb on them. You know it's going to Puka Nacua. You know it's going to – we know we're going to do all – but the way they work together in concert makes them very dangerous. With the Philadelphia team, it's really simple. They got Jalen Hurts out there. He's 6 playoff wins. When he throws for 200-plus, 220-something yards, they lose. When he throws for 100-something yards and they rush for a lot, they win. Now, couple that with Saquon Barkley now, that's their key to victory. They had a chance. They rushed for 200, 300 something yards on the Rams earlier this year. I think the pathway for victory is obviously running Saquon Barkley. But on the flip side, the Rams and Sean McVay do not give up a 100-yard rusher in the history of their playoff run. So one of these things are going to have to give. I think it's going to have to be on the legs of a combination on the legs of Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. But again, I don't think this is the game where the wide receivers and all those guys reading books on the sidelines are going to really make the difference. It's going to have to be a really close game, and this is what Sean McVay is going to do. I think this is why it's going to be one of the better games of the weekend, because it's going to be really tight. But again, I could be wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about, because the Eagles do have a really good defense. They just put all this to bed really early.
Yeah, and Philly favored. Hang on, I have.
Don't sleep on LA. Yeah, I'm really high on the Eagles as much as anybody, but LA's a sneaky, really good team, man. That can contend with anybody.
Do not sleep on that. Do not sleep on that. And here's the other thing. I'm not trying to, but with everything going on out there, is this going to be one of those stories where Matthew Stafford is you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but if that's something to get a city behind you, whew, oh my goodness.
Yeah, if you're playing for something bigger, no, I think it's real. I absolutely think that's part of the equation, no doubt. And then lastly, of course, again, maybe the game of the weekend. Certainly, the guys that I think one of them is going to win the MVP. The votes are already in, so this game will have no bearing on who wins the MVP award. But Lamar takes the Ravens in as 1-point favorites, basically a pick 'em. Against Josh and the Bills, man. And here again, maybe pressure on both of these guys to hit that next level, and then one more level to get to the Super Bowl, which they haven't done yet, either of them. So one of them gets to move on, and one of them's going to go, well, here we go again.
Yeah, and so, both of them on a crash course of teams to meet each other in this round or in the championship round, and, MVP race, Josh and Lamar, all of those storylines going on, and, Lamar being a two-time and trying to get over the hump. And, at the end of all of this, is it just going to be Kansas City waiting on the other side? All right, that's cool, but we got this from here on out. We'll take the storylines. It just feels to me like this game, on one hand, Buffalo has been doing tremendous things, but their defense just feels really tiny to me. And when I say really tiny, when you think about how winter or cold teams and teams every game this weekend is going to be frigid except for the Detroit Lions because we decided we were smart. We're going to build an indoor dome for playoff games. And finally, 20 years later, here comes these playoff games. But the Buffalo
If you
Bills
build it, they will
defense is
come.
not built like that. They're built like a lot of guys playing linebacker are strong safeties. Defensive tackles used to be middle linebackers. Defensive ends are more like outside linebackers. Now they've been getting away with that, and I think the Ravens are going to just lean on them and just wear them out eventually. And I think all of that, they're built for the speed of Lamar Jackson, but I just don't think they're going to be there for the heaviness of all of that. And that's where I think the difference is going to be. And also, man, I hate to say this, man, but man, this thing going to come down to Justin Tucker, man. Justin Tucker has been inconsistent at best, and we would never say that these past couple years, but like, oh my goodness, it feels like this is a Justin Tucker what was the playoff game? He missed the chip shot from the left hash. It was maybe over 5, 6, 7 years ago that happened. And it feels like, and I don't want to put the kibosh on it, but he's a kicker, man. He's going to be all right. I feel like it's going to be so close. It's going to come down to Justin Tucker, not the Bills kicker, Justin Tucker. And he hasn't been solid all year. And I don't know, Jay. I don't know.
Haven't hit one like that on the road too. Like
Yeah.
if this thing does get down to a 55-yard field goal, Justin Tucker as time expires, that's going to get hairy. Yeah, on the road, all that pressure, an all-time great kicker who hasn't been great this year. That's good. I'm sweating just thinking about it.
Man, so think about this, Jay. But then also, Harbaugh has been a special teams guy. He's a guy who, but somebody needs to put a graphic together from the beginning of the year when he was missing those little chip shots and all those different things. Like John's face has been like getting more and more like, I'm not doing this next time. Lamar, just stay out there, or Derek, just stay out there. It doesn't matter but this is playoff time when you need the margins are so thin. This is when you need a kick. This is when you need that extra point. This is the reason why they back the thing up from the 3-yard line to just try to make it a little bit different, a little bit more difficult when all things matter. And lo and behold, it might happen like that. So it'll be interesting, and I'll love to see the mindset as far as, we talked about earlier. Are we going to go into it with the mindset of like Ohio State? Are we going to try to steal a possession from Notre Dame? Different things like that. Is that going to be the same way? I don't think you have to do that when you got the dude out there and that defense across the way that's been phenomenal since they made the adjustment with Kyle Hamilton midseason.
Enjoy all of the football, sir. We always appreciate you. And again, let us know when Dion gets to town, and we'll go from there.
And
right.
Mike Zimmer is putting his name on that head coaching office right now. Matter of fact, Mike Zimmer is like, don't even give me the office. Give me the broom closet. I don't deserve it. He's one of them dudes. I'll work out of my truck.
Athletes and artists. Athletesandartists.net is the website. Check it out. Remove the Chains is the way to follow Langston on Twitter. We'll do it again with him very soon. Again, sir, we always appreciate you. Thank you. Good stuff. All right, hour 1 in the books from Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Packed house in here. Come say hey. Hour 2 of the postgame show coming at you. Let's see. I'm going to say, I don't know, not even like 100 yards away from us, right here on Forest Drive, the Joint Chiropractic Center, Forest Acres location. I mean, see how convenient so much of this is for me in my life. Thank you very much. They've also got a shop on Harbison, Roberts Branch off Killian, which isn't that far away from here either, and Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. The motto of the Joint: you don't have to feel bad to feel better. Bob Keene came up with that because it's true. If you've been bothered by back, neck, shoulder, or joint pain, you get back in the game. You never need an appointment. You don't have to worry about insurance. The Joint is FSA and HSA approved, and you can be in and out quickly. Monday through Friday, 10 to 7. That's right. They're open right now. Saturdays, 10 to 4. Again, they just want you to feel better with convenient, affordable chiropractic care. $29, you get your first exam, consultation, adjustment, see if it's right for you. Tell them we sent you. Check it out. TheJoint.com is the website. 4 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. Second hour of the postgame show coming at you from Pro Swing on Forest Drive in Columbia. Welcome back in alongside Elijah Campbell. I'm Jay Phillips. Ed Bird working hard for us behind the scenes at Master Control in the Herndon Chevy Studios, which is a few miles back that way. But we are here today, packed house in here, enjoying the 4 Golf Zone simulators, the amazing putting green they've got down here. All your Pro Swing swag.
The putting green's pretty cool. I didn't see that when I walked in. And when we were kind of like congregating over here, I was watching, seeing how all the golf simulators worked. I looked over the putting green. I was like, that might be the most fun part of the building.
Yeah. I mean, you can get your clubs. Listen, whether you're playing indoors, outdoors, whatever, tailor-made club fittings happen here. You can get your equipment here. I mean, and here's one of the things that's cool about this place. And I'm dead serious, especially however seriously you may take golf, but if you do take your golf game more seriously than the average duffer,
okay,
you come in here, you come in here, man, and these golf zones measure everything that you do from a swing standpoint. I mean, so
yes,
your spin rate, your angles, I mean, everything. And so for those of you who, maybe you're a member at a club and you really want to win that club championship, well, get in here and because unless you've got, a minimum, say, $10,000 piece of equipment that you carry around with you to measure all those things,
not many people have.
You can't do that. You can go to the driving range and you can work on your technique, but if you're just wanting to really find those little edges, these Golf Zone simulators have it. When you're on the driving range on this thing, it's fantastic, and it tells you everything. I mean, every time you hit a ball, look at like down on the bottom there, launch angle, ball speed,
that's amazing,
spin rate. Every single time you hit it,
you get a replay of you swinging too, so you can dissect your swing.
You can break it down. This is great for golf teachers and golf coaches. This is great for high school teams, and I mean, this place, it's awesome. I mean, and the way these greens undulate, you've got the different rough. You've got the 2 kinds of sand. Cool. You got your fairway traps. You've got your bunker traps. I mean, it's got everything, man.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Like, you know how Wake Forest has like their own like little pitching?
Yeah, the pitching lab.
Lab.
Yeah.
This is like a golf lab.
It is,
but like with liquid refreshments and fun.
That's a great way to put it.
The pitching lab seems really serious,
right.
And it produced 2 Cincinnati Red first-round draft picks.
That's fair.
And
I'm sure that the pitching lab
is more fun.
I'm sure the pitching lab has liquid refreshment, but it's probably, sports beverage.
Like the best Gatorade which exists, which is 1, 2, 3, orange.
Yes.
Supposed to answer when I say 3.
Oh,
we'll get that later.
Yeah,
we'll get that later because I know we're aligned on that. We could have really pulled that off.
But they have all kinds of liquid refreshment here.
They do.
And today we've got some food from next door at Bonefish.
Bonefish is fantastic.
So they've got that.
I've been to a Bonefish grill in like a decade.
Well, there's one right there, man. I mean, when I say right there, when I usually point to places and say like I'm kind of that way or that way,
they're not 6 steps that way.
Right there,
they're 6 steps
on the other side. In fact, if you hit a golf ball hard enough, Elijah, and I don't know that you can, but if you hit a golf ball hard enough, the bar of Bonefish is on the other side of that wall.
John Daly could probably put a golf ball in the Bonefish from here through that wall.
Michael Geddes is sitting here, and he just looked up at the ceiling and probably went, I really don't want Jay trying to dare people to hit a golf ball through the wall. Yeah, there are some dudes that can hit here. No, you cannot actually hit the ball through the wall. But and don't try, please. But do come over.
The only person that possibly can, maybe John Daly after 6 Budweisers and a pack of Marlboro Reds. That's the only person who might have a chance at doing that. He
might. We'll see if we can get John in here one day.
Now that'd be fun.
This grand opening is so cool, by the way. The Pro Swing has their own logoed helium balloons, man.
That's and they have the balloon set up out front too. Like you can't miss it. You drive by it. You play the game called Guess Who's Having Their Grand Opening Today. You're going to win that game every time.
I realized that if I could walk past the balloon arch if I had wanted to, but you know what I did? I walked right under that.
As you should. If you walked around it or past it,
I walked
you're
right
not being festive, and you probably aren't fun enough.
No, we are having a lot of fun out here. Thanks to Langston. Again, a big football weekend. A couple of headlines to get to you real quick. Again, the big one of the day, if you have not heard, Dawn Staley today had her new contract approved by the Board of Trustees at Carolina. She now becomes the highest paid women's basketball coach in the history of the sport. This current year's salary will be prorated to $4 million. It'll go up $250,000 each of the next 5 seasons, taking her ultimately to a base of $5.25 million. There are built-in incentives, obviously, which were already there. Congratulations to Dawn. This is certainly, in my opinion, and I would say in the opinion of the Board of Trustees and the leadership of the university and many, many, many others, well-deserved. I think you and I talked about it last hour. Congratulations to all who did this. Dawn and her team, Ray Tanner first and kind of getting this ball rolling. Jeremiah Donati for seeing it home.
As a first act,
Yeah,
mind you.
right.
As a first, official
Big,
act.
yeah, first big thing.
That's pretty cool.
And
well done.
And to the board, everybody wanted to do this. That's
really
the number one thing. Everybody wanted to do this and got it done.
I have a question to pose to you, Jay Phillips. I just now thought of this. Do you think it's any coincidence that this happened just days after it was announced that the women's basketball tournament will be getting revenue share for its TV deal?
Wow.
Because now Dawn Staley is worth significantly more than she was before that news.
That's a great point.
Because now your athletic department will benefit significantly greater from being successful in the sport of women's college basketball than it did just last week. So with that news happening, I'm sure they probably knew this was something that was in the works, right? Everybody's kind of in the loop on that. Do you think that news right there can directly correlate to Dawn becoming the highest paid women's college basketball coach ever?
I would imagine it's a little bit of both. I would say the timing could be somewhat coincidental in that the NCAA convention is this week, but I would also say that the deal, the negotiating has probably been in the works, but at the same time there to kind of come back around again. I think we all knew that the NCAA was going to do this when it comes to paying units in the women's tournament beginning soon enough. So a little, I guess that it's, but at the same time, not completely coincidental.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. And what is it? Forgive me. I believe this year the women's tournament pool will be 15 million total. Is that right?
I believe so.
And then it's going to go up over time. But it's it's probably not completely coincidental that it happened that way. And I'm thrilled for her, obviously, first and foremost, and for the school. She made a great statement about, the city, the state, the fan base, the community, and how, and she's been so engaged for so long, and we know what she's built. It's right there in front of you every day. But I think it's tremendous, but it is great in the sense you make a good point, man. If you want to look at it from the business standpoint, then yes, she and her program do instantly become more financially valuable to the University of South Carolina. That's an obvious fact at this point now.
Yeah, because previously, winning championships in that sport, obviously fantastic. Like that is awesome. It just didn't carry the financial weight.
Right.
Brought
you good PR.
Women's college basketball has been a sleeping giant for a while now, and Dawn has done a really good job of kind of documenting that and talking about that as much as she can. And then when you kind of put the investment that, Disney, ESPN, ABC have put into the sport to kind of elevate it, you see exactly what happens when that star power is highlighted. And we just broke records. The most watched basketball game, men's, women's, college, pro, whatever, was the national championship game against Iowa and Cleveland.
Right.
That shattered records.
Right.
And that once that happens, and once you get into a level of sharing that TV revenue with a new TV contract, then winning in women's college basketball becomes significantly more important or more vital, right? I think it's going to put a lot more pressure on other schools in the SEC that maybe aren't as good, haven't been as good for a while, your Auburns, your Arkansas, to try to get in on this as well and make coaching changes, invest more in it, because now it becomes a lot more profitable. Locking down Dawn Staley helps you become more profitable as an athletic department moving forward because of just where the sport is going. And getting in on it right as that news is announced, I think, is a splash.
It is. So, again, congrats to Dawn. And so a couple of things that we mentioned earlier, just to let you know, a lot of people these days certainly want to know, what about the buyout? What about the buyout? If Dawn leaves for another college job, then she would owe the university whatever is left on her contract. If she were fired without cause, the university would owe her whatever is left on the contract. If she were to choose to leave for a WNBA or NBA job, then she would owe the university nothing. And everybody's good with that. And as you and I mentioned, there's you don't put that in there like, oh, hey, let's just throw that in there and see what happens. You do that for a reason.
Because you never know.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean she's going to.
Nope.
We already know, of course, that not all that long ago, a few years back now, Ohio State made a run at her. She chose to stay in Columbia, and everybody's glad. But so again, another college coming at her, and with this kind of contract now, that's a lot of money, right? I mean, let's say it's 3 years from now, that's going to be upwards of $15 million that would be owed, for a women's college basketball coach. Now she's not just any coach; she's
coach.
She's Dawn Staley. I mean, she's a rock star.
She's the sports icon.
Yeah, I mean, she's a rock star.
Of all basketball, not just men's.
Yeah. No,
she is a basketball.
She's
a basketball icon.
Again, look at the. If you need any proof, just look at the Olympics last year. And she was just hanging out in the studio, and just like, what's up?
She got to hang out with Mike Tirico, and I've never been more jealous of Dawn Staley than getting to hang out with Mike Tirico.
She and Tirico just talking about like what's going on in Paris. They weren't even talking basketball some of the time, man, and hanging with Snoop and everybody and seeing everything. And she was living her best life. It was cool, and that was great for the University of South Carolina.
Oh, it's fantastic hub for the university.
It's just you can't. Those are things that you can, in a sense, buy. Right, or pay for, sense. But in a sense,
but it's built. It was built here too.
Right.
I mean, I do love going back and looking at some of the first teams. Like they had to struggle for a little bit.
Yeah.
They had to struggle, and now you've built a women's college basketball empire. Like not only did Dawn Staley hang out Mike Tirico and Snoop Dogg in Paris for the Olympics, but she got to watch the best player in the world, a player that she recruited and coached at the University of South Carolina as well, win the gold medal and be the MVP of that team. That's kind of like the perfect encapsulation of
and again, the cherry on that
doing.
The cherry on that Sunday is that young lady, Asia Wilson, is from where?
Columbia, South Carolina. Heathwood Hall legend.
So that's pretty cool. But congrats to Dawn. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. On that note, I just got a text that says we are going to be giving away. You want to do it right now?
Let's do it. Absolutely.
All right.
Massive game Sunday in terms of entertainment value. If you like high flying up and down the court action, Oklahoma plays the 4th fastest pace in women's college basketball. They play like 80 possessions a game and shoot a lot of threes. So that should be a really fun, entertaining matchup on Sunday.
You go. All right. Well, we have 2 pair to give away. So we'll have callers 4 and 5, 803.
I love it.
404 6100. 803 404 6100. Ed Bird will hook you up with a pair of tickets. 2 winners, pair of tickets each, Sunday, Carolina and Oklahoma. Lots more to do as the grand opening of Pro Swing in Forest Acres continues on this Friday. You are listening to the Postgame Show. I'll tell you about our good friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. Homeowners love where you live, been there a while, built up some equity, and realize now might be a great time to redo the kitchen. Did not hold up for us over the holiday season, or that guest bathroom. Maybe you had the in-laws come in and go, why don't you do something about this? Or maybe you need a new guest room to house them when they come in town. Whatever the needs might be, Palmetto Citizens is ready to help you out with their home equity line of credit. Access a draw over 10 years. Get one job done at a time. Pay for it as you need to. That's the beauty of a 10-year draw. They're ready to help you out. 14 area locations, always online to learn more. PalmettoCitizens.org. They've been in business since the 1930s, so they know the local area. My wife and I are members. We've been very pleased with everything that they've done for us over the years. Think you will too. Again, check them out. Learn more at PalmettoCitizens.org. Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on from the brand new Pro Swing in Forest Acres. Forest Drive, right across the street from Lowe's Foods, directly next door. Same building as Bonefish. Those of you who frequent this area, you know where we are. And if you don't, that's where we are. Come say hey. They're open till 10 o'clock tonight, 10 o'clock tomorrow. And memberships available. This place is so much fun. More than 250 courses on the golf zone. A lot of them that you've heard of, some that you might not have. And again, there was a little guy here earlier playing on like what amounted to like a putt themed, well, not putt, like literal name brand, like a mini golf, like with castles and fun
It
stuff.
looked like a Viva Pinata golf course.
But it was golf, and it makes me want to play that one because I think I could probably shoot close to par, and by close, probably nowhere.
That's the only one I would be able to get remotely close to. Not very good.
I've played a few. I've played Harbortown a couple of times.
What'd you shoot?
Golf shots.
How many of them?
Some.
How many of them?
More than I should have. I don't know.
More than 80?
Yes. Yeah.
More than 90?
Yes. Yes.
Did you need to icy hot your shoulders from all the swinging?
Yes. Yes. More than 80. Absolutely. And it was more than 90. I don't know how many more than 90, but it was definitely more than 80.
You get home and I can imagine Mrs. Phillips. Jay, why are your shoulders iced?
Yeah.
Been using them a lot of swinging.
I just appreciate you starting at 80 and thinking that might be a good place to start. I
figured I would do you the kindness.
Yeah, that's nice.
Of assuming double figures.
When I played
triple
back in the day, I've said before, back in the day, my buddies and I, we would seriously, for a few years, we were playing like twice a week, and I could start to shoot like 90s. I couldn't putt. If I could putt,
then you could probably cut that number down.
I three putted so much. And it drove, and we didn't do gimmies and things. I mean, we finished them out. We weren't playing for money or anything. Every once in a while, maybe for like a quarter a hole kind of a thing. But seriously, I just don't gamble. But more for pride and like you suck kind of a thing. But no, I three putted way too often, man. It drove me nuts because I'm up there, I'm getting out of the sand, or I've got a little chip shot, and then it's like still you got to get up and down, and it's like up and then down +1 or things like that, and it just drove me crazy.
I was at my best when I'm in the rough or in the sand trap. I can't drive. I just can't drive. Like,
golf is a cruel game,
it's brutal.
man.
It's so bad at driving.
I love playing golf, but it can be a cruel game. But that's why you come here, and this place, I'm telling you, it works. You work on everything. It tells you everything about your swing, every single swing.
They don't call it amateur swing.
It is, yeah, right.
It's pro swing for a reason.
It's good stuff. Tyler Thigpen's out here. He's going to join us in just a few. We'll ask him what it's like being in Kansas City when it's frigid in the middle of America. He knows. He was a Kansas City
Good
Chief
thing they play in a dome. They don't have to work.
No. Only one game in a dome this weekend. Only one game in a dome. That's in Detroit. Which if I was Detroit this weekend, I might kind of wish that we were outside. I might want Jaden Daniels outside.
Well, no, you don't. You know why? Because you also have to play outside.
Well, that's true. I'm just but isn't that what we heard in the college game? Like, no, we need all those teams. I guess Washington's not really the South. Where's Jaden from?
Arizona.
Out west, right?
Yeah. I think he stayed closer to home when he went to Arizona State. We think of like Jaden Daniels as a rookie.
Yeah.
And that's why I love, I don't know if you caught this, but Langston referred to, he said, slightly youngish Jaden Daniels.
Right.
Because do you know, Jay Phillips, that in Jaden Daniels' first year at Arizona State, he did indeed throw a touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk, who feels like he has been in the league for like 5 years.
Yeah.
He threw a touchdown pass to Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Same thing for Bo Nix. Do you know who Bo Nix's first career college football game was against?
I don't know who.
Justin Herbert. When Auburn played Oregon in Jerry's World for the start of the year. That was Bo Nix's first career start.
Dang, and Herbert's been in the league
for a bit, dude.
But my boy Bo is like he'll be 25 next season, right? So yeah.
These two dudes, they're rookies, but they're no spring chicken in terms of what a normal rookie quarterback in the league is. Like Anthony Richardson, is like what, 21?
Yeah,
maybe?
maybe 22 now.
Anthony
but-
Richardson has played in the league a year longer than those two guys and is 4 years younger.
Right. Yeah, he needs to get better too. They need to make sure he has things around him to get better because
So young. Yeah.
Well, what was he? The fourth pick? Third pick?
Fourth, I believe, because it went Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, both to Houston.
Yep.
And then Anthony Richardson, I believe, was the fourth to Indy. But Indy also needs to understand they need to be patient because they drafted, you guessed it, almost a child. He was only a legal adult for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And you've seen what some quarterbacks have been able to do once, you've given them time.
Well, there's
Sam
a lot.
Darnold, Jared Goff, Geno Smith,
There's a lot on him that doesn't
Baker
need.
Mayfield.
I mean, he didn't ask to be drafted fourth, and that's what I've told
No.
you before. In all seriousness, that's one of the things that I just cannot stand about how people look at some of these players. He's terrible. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Maybe the team should have thought more about that. And I won't bang my developmental league drum right now, but
It'd be perfect for a guy like Anthony
know,
Richardson.
If you don't want to be in college, that's great. If they had it, again, a lot of flame throwing left-handed pitchers go straight from high school to pro baseball, but they don't go straight to the big leagues. And then not only that, but expected to take their team to the playoffs right away because of how much money they spent on you. It's not how it works, man. Not how it works. We'll talk some more football with Tyler in a minute. We'll have an earlier than typical drive around the SEC as well. Michael Geddes is going to talk to us about everything that's going on here at Pro Swing this weekend and beyond. And again, coming up in about an hour, we'll play the Wild Card Showdown, playoff edition, special edition. There's a bonus game in there, which is going to be a lot of fun. And if you can beat us, we will be setting you up with 1 hour of golf right here at Pro Swing, which is enough for you to play 18 holes by yourself or split a 18 with a buddy. But that's usually about an hour to play 18 holes. And again, plenty of liquid refreshment and more here at Pro Swing. So a lot of fun. Gamecocks go to Oklahoma tomorrow. Both teams looking for their first conference win. We've talked about it this week, talked about it a lot yesterday after a tough loss in Nashville on Wednesday night that South Carolina is playing better. I'll throw the numbers out again just to remind people. First two conference losses were by a combined 55 points. Next two conference losses by a combined 6 points. And one of those was against the best team in the conference. Both of those were without two starters. It's weird that Carolina seems to be getting better as they lose some players. Oklahoma is a different kind of 0-4. They had a big lead against A&M and blew it. They were down big against Texas and nearly came back. So where's the similarity and difference tomorrow? Does anybody have an edge other than the fact that OU's at home?
OU being at home, I think will be a slight edge. I'm really curious to know what that crowd's going to be like if they've checked out
Sleepy
on not just this team, but on Porter Moser in general,
Yeah.
because Porter Moser's been there a few years now, and he's yet to take him to an NCAA tournament. Shoot, he's yet to even beat Texas. I think he's like 0-8 against Texas all time now.
And if you know that name, he was the Loyola coach, Sister Jean and all that great story
Took
a couple
him
of
to
years
a Final
ago.
Four.
Final Four.
Yeah.
And OU paid him a lot of money.
A lot of money to take that job, and he took it. But it hasn't gone kind of as planned. But I think Oklahoma definitely has just such an edge in guard play. I think that's the main thing is Jeremiah Fears is arguably the most, outside of Cooper Flagg, the most productive points-wise freshman in the country. Him and Trey Johnson from Texas. That's why I watching them kind of go back and forth the other day was a ton of fun. But Jeremiah Fears is a legit scoring guard, and you kind of got to do what Georgia did, and that Georgia took him out of the game. I mean,
Right.
His lowest scoring total of the year was 2 points at Georgia, and Georgia threw different bodies at him. They gave him different looks. They made sure to throw an extra body when you drove baseline. He was met with another defender. That's one thing you kind of have to do. That's where the edge that Oklahoma would have because, again, kind of like Vanderbilt, their front court defensively isn't good enough to contain Colin one-on-one. Shouldn't be able to, right? Find ways to get Colin the ball downhill. And for Colin, be strong enough with your hands to be able to get the ball up to the rim and finish, right? Too many times he got stripped. And Oklahoma's going to watch that tape, and they're going to slap at that ball too. That's the big thing with Oklahoma is that, they got bigs, like they have good size. They're not super strong defensively. There's really not one element of this team outside of, ironically enough, free throw shooting. They're an 80% free throw shooting team, Oklahoma is. It's top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
But there's not one thing that they do spectacularly better than anybody else.
Right.
So My big thing is, can you keep Jeremiah Fears from beating you and force maybe Brian Goodine, who's a lights out 3-point shooter, but force him to hit 7 or 8 threes to beat you in this game? I just don't know if they're able to do it because, unfortunately, this Gamecock men's basketball team, Jay Phillips, if it's not one thing, it's another. You've been playing whack-a-mole with your problems.
Yeah, that's the term you've been using. And, again, the other day, I don't know what they can learn, Oklahoma, from the tape in a quick turnaround, from a Wednesday night to a Saturday afternoon. But Carolina just turning the ball over so much carelessly on so many, opportunities as well. Again, Carolina did more than enough to win that basketball game the other day. And yet found a way to lose is how I look at it. And I hate portraying it that way, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at the other games South Carolina's lost this year. Have they done it from turnovers, from just poor turnover play? North Florida, you didn't guard the perimeter well against a team that loves to shoot threes. You got burned there. Indiana, your best player gets in foul trouble. You had to play basically a man down. You lose a different way there. Now turnovers against Vanderbilt in epic fashion.
Right.
Yeah, you found a new way to lose.
Yeah. Lots more to do. The grand opening of Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Tyler Thigpen will join us in a bit. Drive around the SEC and more to come. It's the postgame show.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with many a traffic accident to get to you. Yeah, it's not looking pretty, so I'll try to get through all this in the allotted time I have. We do have some stop-and-go traffic that's very slow on I-26 eastbound between Lake Murray Boulevard, exit 102, and I-20, exit 107B. Got accidents on Clemson Road at I-20, Hard Scrabble Road at Lee Road, Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Pisgah Church Road, I-20 eastbound between Spears Creek Church Road, exit 82, and White Pond Road near exit 87. We also have one on 26 westbound at Airport Boulevard near exit 113, Jamil Road at St. Andrews Road, Killian Road at I-77, Old Barnwell Road at South Carolina 6 and South Lake Drive, and lastly, Percival Road at Highway 12 near Forest Drive.
Talking the football weekend, Carolina basketball, Dawn Staley's new contract, and a whole lot more. Welcome back in. We're also talking about the grand opening of Pro Swing in Forest Acres. They've been open for a couple of years now in Chapin, next door to world headquarters of Integrated Media. But now here in town, 4 big golf zone bays and a whole lot more going on. We'll tell you more about it in just a bit. Our friend Tyler Thigpen has been playing. And I think last time we saw you, it was at the Chapin, the Chapin location.
Actually. I think I did like a little springtime, little segment
right before that Augusta tournament, which
That's
is
right.
it's
Okay.
just not on this yet. But I'm
know.
hoping that the golf zone people ultimately pull that
I
off.
mean, they got to get on board or something.
I
why
figured
not?
if EA Sports got on board, then these people can too.
Exactly.
And I see that you call yourself Thiggy on
that's
this.
my little alias, you know.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. How you been?
Good, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no,
on,
you
man.
bet. What course were you playing today?
I think it was a Tom Watson course down in Orlando. I'm
Okay.
trying to think of the
Nice.
and there's only 260 courses
I know,
on the
right?
system. It's like every time I come in here, I always ask Steve. I'm like, hey, set me up on a course. And I'm one of those guys that, like, you know, as soon as you play it, I don't remember it the next time because you just play so many of them from that standpoint.
Well, I did play Bay Hill out in Chapin one time, and it didn't go well.
Yeah, I actually played Bay Hill this past summer or whatever down there. The real course.
The real one.
Yeah.
Did it go well?
Yeah, shot 84, so it wasn't too bad.
Well, so you play. You're good.
Yeah, so I'm not too bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
What'd you shoot today on
I
the
think I
Watson
was one over. We only played 9 holes. So,
Okay.
Yeah, I shot one over. I'm usually on this in like real life. I'm usually about an 8 handicap, but on this game, I think my handicap's like a -6 over here. So
Okay.
I can get away with beating up on these guys.
Why
pretty
is
good.
it that so many quarterbacks are always so bleeping good at golf?
You know, I don't know. It's just we're just competitors. At the end of the day, it's one of those things where you always want to be good at something. That's what I always used to say when I first met Connor. Connor wasn't a great golfer.
Right.
And I used to always talk to him. I'm like, hey, man, you got to get better at golf, dude. You're going to get asked to play in these charity golf tournaments. And sure enough, he took my advice, and he's starting to play a lot better now. So, I mean, it's just one of the things where you have a standard as a quarterback. Like, you got to be able to shoot a three-pointer. You got to be able to obviously throw a touchdown, but you got to be able to play golf too, because you're going to get asked to play in these charity golf tournaments. You don't go out there and embarrass yourself.
Well, I'm amazed sometimes in my career. I've done some of those same kind of things, and I'll see these guys, and they're honest when they say, "Yeah, I play like 5 or 6 times a year." And I mean, smoking the ball 280, 300 straight down there.
These hand-eye coordination, man.
Deft little touch, around the green. And I'm like, you play 6 times a year, and you're out here getting ready to shoot at 80. I could play 6 times a month and not do that. So that's just me.
It's a frustrating sport, though.
Yeah, but I love it. It is. It'll kill you, but it's
It'll
fun.
break you mentally.
Tyler Thigpen is with us. You spent a little bit of your career in Kansas City. What is January like? What's it going to be like? Now, it's cold for everybody, but describe the difference in the cold.
I mean, obviously in Kansas City, I mean, people think that Buffalo's cold, which it is, but Kansas City, that Midwest, I mean, it is. The one game I played, I always tell people about it. When I was in Kansas City in 2008, we played Miami. It was -10 wind chill that game. I mean, it was absolute. I mean, the last drive of the game, I remember we had a shootout. I mean, it's one of those things where it's that cold. You don't think you're going to score a lot of points. It was 38-31 was the final score. And the last drive, essentially, once the sun had kind of gone down on the stadium, I was chattering. I could not even get myself warm enough to where I could say the play. I mean, my teeth were chattering the whole time. But as far as from that standpoint, when you're playing the game, usually, I mean, it's not that cold, more or less. It's not that cold. I mean, from that standpoint, because your blood flow, you're obviously out there, your adrenaline's going. But it's different as far as from that standpoint. I mean, the hits hurt a lot harder.
Yeah.
I mean, when guys hit you, I mean, you got fingertips that are, you feel like you almost broke a fingertip off. But, from that standpoint, those guys understand it going into at that level. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, your job is to go out there and perform, whether it's 70 and sunny or, negative 10 degrees.
Right.
Is it taking more concerned effort while you're on the sideline to like keep throwing? Like that's one thing I've always wondered too. Is like, when you're out in the field, it's probably fine because there's adrenaline. Right. You can break a little bit of a sweat or whatever. But like the other team goes on like an Army Navy-esque 15-play 95-yard drive. That has to be miserable.
Exactly. Yeah. And obviously the heated benches, those come into play as far as, I don't know if you've ever seen those.
Yeah.
They got something you put your helmet on, it keeps your helmet hot, because obviously the last thing you want is a cold helmet putting it on as hard as that plastic essentially would be. But the biggest thing, the equipment guys do a great job. That's the thing that you don't realize, the behind the scenes stuff, that as soon as Patrick Mahomes and those guys come off on the sideline, they're getting their big coat, they're sitting on the bench, they're going over their plays, whatever exactly from the previous drive. So they do a great job. So you don't see a lot of guys that are probably standing around, on the sideline watching the defense, that they might be doing during a good, a great weather game essentially. But that's the thing too, is that's the X factor for those teams that are used to that. You got Buffalo that's building a brand new stadium, and they're not even building an indoor stadium.
Right.
I cannot believe that from that standpoint. That's an X factor that plays into Buffalo's advantage.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about. The college, like a lot of Big Ten folks, man, let's get these Southern schools up here in December and January and see what happens. And, but Detroit has a dome. You played for the Vikings. They've got the dome, but Green Bay has Lambeau, that the field is heated, but it's still outside.
Absolutely.
And then Buffalo's just decided, nah, we're Buffalo.
We're Buffalo.
And you played there too.
Yeah.
So it like you said, it's a different.
There's nothing like Buffalo. Those fans are absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
There's a reason when you pull in on your buses and opposing, they literally, I think it's done on purpose that the visiting team, when they come driving into the stadium, they have to go through the craziest tailgate parking lot where you just don't know what you're going to see at that point.
A Rubbermaid table's worst nightmare.
Absolutely. I'm sure they just see the opposing team coming in and they line all the tables up to where they're just jumping off the RVs, essentially breaking tables.
Louder crowd though, Arrowhead or Buffalo?
Oh, man, Arrowhead, that's tough. I'll tell you a story. My first time when I was with Minnesota, went through training camp, got cut, put on practice squad with Minnesota, and then Kansas City claimed me the next day. Got to Kansas City, our first two games. Our first game was at Houston, and then we played at Chicago. We're 0-2, but we had they had a good year the year before. First home game was against Minnesota at Kansas City. So I had just gotten picked up by Kansas City. So this was, cool to me in the sense of like the former team that essentially let me go in that sense. And I'll tell you what, at halftime, I went in at halftime, for obviously the halftime and pretty much my ears, I looked at Brody Kroll and Damian Heward. I'm like, my ears are ringing and y'all's not. And I'm telling you right now, Arrowhead is something different. There's a reason that Arrowhead, and I think it was Seattle, went back and forth for the loudest stadium there for a while.
Yeah, and
I
Seattle's
think
got
City
that
holds it, I think,
the way
too.
that it's built. So I can believe that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Buffalo, one of those quarterbacks is going to be done with the season come Sunday night.
Yeah.
And one of them is more than likely going to win the MVP. So, that's
I know they say that didn't come into play, but I can tell you right now, if one wins over the other, I probably think you know who your MVP is.
Yeah. Well, and I think the votes are in, right? So, I don't know how that. I don't know if anybody else gets to do anything about it.
Someone's going to feel vindicated or remorseful for that vote, for sure.
But you feel like for both of those guys, like, man, all right, you need to get to a Super Bowl at some point, right?
Oh, no doubt. So I know there's the whole. I know you guys are diehard sports, but you got the whole Baltimore 28-year-old with Trent Dilfer. Was it Trent Dilfer?
2000.
2000.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, Trent Dilfer.
Joe Flacco was 28 when he won the Super Bowl, and guess who's 28 this year?
I never thought about that. Yeah, no, I didn't know. I did not.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson's 28 this year. So it's like, is this going to be the year?
Is it destiny? Team of destiny.
Could be. So
I did pick.
But I tell you what, though, what a great Super Bowl would be between. I've always said it, Detroit and Buffalo, man.
Yeah.
Those two cities need it, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, and sometimes you might think about things like that and say nobody's going to watch, but it's the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, it should be a great game on Sunday night. Obviously the weather I think will be a certainly factor as far as being in the teens. I think a low of 8 degrees that night or something.
Well, and it's a night game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is,
And
I'm
it
not
starts
sure.
at 6, so I mean the sun's already down. At
Yeah, yeah,
5:30.
absolutely.
Brutal.
But yeah, as far as from that standpoint, I mean, it's at the end of the day, those are two great programs. As far as from that standpoint, so you're going to see the best of the best, and what Baltimore's done this year with not only with what Lamar's done, but with Derrick Henry. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty sporty. But I hope one thing that I would say, I hope Josh Allen. I was talking to Pat DeMarco, who was here earlier. I hope Josh doesn't press himself to where he just feels like he's got to go outscore the other team, because at the end of the day, Baltimore is going to do what they do offensively. I mean, they're going to score points. They're going to probably try to run the ball down your throat. And guess what? If they can't, freaking what's his name? Lamar he can beat you with the pass.
Man,
which is crazy.
Beautiful deep ball.
He's become such a complete player.
I mean, the athletic quarterback. When I was there in 2008, they said that you can't play in shotgun.
Right.
And I remember just arguing to the reporter saying, like, obviously Tom Brady's doing it, or I think at the time Matt Castle was that year. But it's like, it's okay for somebody like that to do it. But for us, a guy like me that was trying to get his way into the NFL, they said you couldn't be done. But look at it now.
Yeah, no,
there's teams that don't even go under center.
Yeah. It's good to see you, man.
Hey, absolutely.
Best
Thank
of the
you guys
family.
for having
Yeah,
me.
you bet. Good stuff.
Appreciate
That's
it.
Tyler Thigpen, the
Absolutely.
former Coastal and NFLer. Lots more to do here from the grand opening of Pro Swing on the Postgame Show. 10 minutes in front of 5 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. This place is packed. We are at Pro Swing on Forest Drive, having a lot of fun. We just had fun talking with Tyler Thigpen on and off the air. And I don't know how much of the YouTube stream captures any of our off-air conversations, but
not audibly, but it did watch us stand up.
It's just fun. I know you do too, and that's one of the great things about what we do. We're very fortunate that we get to talk with guys like this and just learn. And we were just talking about some things that quarterbacks go through in the NFL, and as they grow and learn and change and.
How the games change,
how
too.
the game,
he
was talking about how coaches told him, listen, we don't want our quarterbacks to run, or we need, that was what he's got drafted 15, 16, 17 years ago. I forget exactly.
Yeah, he was the story he told us was like 2008.
Yeah, so it's been a little while, but fun stuff. Appreciate him stopping by, and he can play, man. Well, it frightens me when he hits golf balls.
Well, because when I first got here, so I got here maybe like 40 minutes before we got on air, right? And I walk over and I see you and Michael talking. I kind of hop in, and he ripped a drive, and it scared the hell out of me. Yeah. I audibly jumped. Yeah, I jumped, loud, I jumped out of my skin a little bit. He
can crush the golf ball.
Yeah, the wall sounds like it's in pain. If there's anybody I don't want to be here in this building, it's the wall.
He
taking a beating,
and then he told us that he did. Well, I think he said that on air that he played Bay Hill and shot an 84. That's pretty good.
And you laughed if I suggested that it was an 80 that you shot on the Pro Swing game
at Harborton.
Yeah. He shot 84 in real Harborton.
Oh man,
Bay Hill,
Bay Hill,
playing
the golf zone. Bay Hill crushed me. It was not kind. Mr. Palmer created a very difficult course for the average golfer.
He created a lot of really good courses.
Yes, he was very good about that. Quick drive around the SEC for you. Again, one of the stories around the league today is that Mike Bobo is out as the offensive coordinator at Georgia, but I've not seen yet anything that is fully confirming
an official report.
Yeah, certainly the university itself has not said Mike is stepping down, at least not at last check. Let me try to get us a little bit more here real fast. There's a lot of
peeking on you right now on your Twitter feed, and all I see is a picture of JP Morgan. And let me tell you what, that was not a pretty man.
But there are a lot of things over the last little bit that suggested is not true. But Buck Bellew, who hosts the morning show at 680 The Fan, the former Georgia quarterback, is the first one that put this out. And that's why a lot of people have gravitated towards the story, because it isn't like Buck is disconnected from the program.
Right. Very well connected to it.
So I don't know, but that's a story. Again, not reporting that, certainly not us here in Columbia, but that's a big rumor that is swirling. Beyond that, the basketball weekend on the men's side of things tomorrow. Not a great weekend, Elijah, to be perfect. I mean, the Bama-Kentucky game is the first. That tips it.
That'll be fun. You like offensive basketball?
Yeah, that should be fun. That should be fun.
They might have 90 possessions in that game.
Track meet kind of a thing.
There's going to be a lot of possessions.
Auburn goes to Georgia. Game. Tennessee is at Vanderbilt.
Trap game for Auburn.
Yeah, it could be.
Georgia plays well at home, man. They defend very well. Without Jani Broome, they don't have the size advantage they might have had. That one's saucy.
Texas at Florida. Again, a lot of.
I wouldn't sleep on Texas at Florida.
A lot
either.
of things going on at Florida that are just puzzling.
Disturbing.
Troubling.
Yeah. So maybe Missouri beating Florida was karma.
Maybe.
Enacting its will.
I don't know.
You know what? Texas could be a good karmatic team to come in there and drop their will.
Yeah.
Texas can score. That's the thing about this Longhorn team on the hardwood is that they've got a freshman in Trey Johnson who might be the most gifted 3-level scorer in college basketball. If you have not watched him, I highly suggest watching him at Florida, because that guy might be the best mid-range shooter in the sport right now. He's got a really good three-point shot, shoots really well around the rim, got great touch. But, he almost I'm not saying he plays like Kevin Durant, but he kind of looks like him a little bit. He's really thin. He's got really long arms. So he's kind of built like him. If you haven't watched him yet, man, Trey Johnson.
All right, I'll get on that.
Stud.
Carolina plays at 4 tomorrow, right? So
yes.
Only game I know that I've is the Bama games at noon. LSU at A&M. Arkansas still looking for their first win in conference play. They are at a much improved Missouri. And Ole Miss is at State tomorrow. That could be a good
an
game.
Egg Bowl in basketball.
That
Yeah.
could be a good game.
Emotionally charged.
Yeah.
I think I like Mississippi State, though, still, even though I'm.
We'll come back again. We got more to talk about with the Gamecocks trip to Oklahoma, and then the women will host them on Sunday here in Columbia. Dawn Staley news and a big time picks contest coming up.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with a few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways here this Friday afternoon. Starting with not an accident, but we have some severe stop-and-go traffic reported in I-26 eastbound. That's between Lake Murray Boulevard, exit 102, and I-20 near exit 107B. Some accidents that are causing traffic backups are on Hardscrabble Road at Lee Road, Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Pisgah Church Road, I-20 eastbound at White Pond Road near exit 87, Jamil Road at St. Andrews Road, Killian Road at I-77, Old Barnwell Road at South Carolina 6 and South Lake Drive, Old Hilton Road at Chapin Road, Percival Road at Highway 12 near Forest Drive, and we do have some accidents cleared. That'll be on 20 eastbound between exit 82 and 87, and on 26 west at exit 113.
And it is 5 o'clock news time here on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show, final hour, broadcasting live today during the grand opening of Pro Swing on Forest Drive. Thanks to Michael, to Nathan, to David, to Steve, the entire crew for having us out. Evan is out here. Appreciate Tyler Thigpen hanging out. The place is packed. Got some food, got plenty of liquid refreshment.
Yes.
So a lot of fun stuff.
High quality H2O.
Yeah, well, we're having water right now, but
for now,
I believe
the most dangerous words in sports, brother. For now,
I believe that something else could be in our future. So we'll see.
Orange Gatorade.
That's right. We will have our playoff edition picks contest coming up in a bit. Michael Geddes is going to be. We're like what they do on the 4-Letter Network. Michael's going to be our guest picker.
Oh, I love it.
And he's also providing us with a prize for today's picks contest, which is 1 hour of free golf here at Pro Swing off Forest Drive.
That's a pretty good value too.
$65 value. Yours if you can beat us.
If you can be a big if. That's been a big if this year. We've had a solid year, a real solid season.
We have had a pretty good year, man. We actually have.
I feel like we've won between you and me. I feel like we have won more weeks this year than we did last year.
Definitely, because I think last year we were both under 500 by now.
I started off poorly last year.
Right now, I've had a bad couple of weeks. I'm a game over. You're 6 games over, and you have a couple of pushes, so your percentages are good. We'll do that coming up for you.
Salt and pepper, baby, because I'll be pushing it real good.
We'll do that for you in just a little bit. The big news of the day here locally. Congratulations to Dawn Staley. Dawn today becoming the highest paid coach in women's college basketball. South Carolina's Board of Trustees today approving her new contract. Her current season deal prorates up to $4 million. She will receive $250,000 raises over each of the next 5 seasons. This deal keeps her in Columbia through the 29-30 season. It runs out officially in April of 2030. So that final year salary, $5.25 million. There are obviously a lot of bonuses built into this. The total value of the deal could be worth more than $25 million when it's all said and done. She has become the iconic face of the sport for many, many people in this country. We talked a lot about the Olympics last year, living her best life, but just, hanging with Tarico, talking about whatever, seeing her at different venues, obviously supporting Asia Wilson on the United States women's basketball team, where she herself was a 3-time gold medalist as a player, won a gold as an assistant, won the gold as the head coach.
Yeah.
She's done so much for the University of South Carolina, for the city of Columbia, for our state. And this is, in my opinion, incredibly well-deserved. One of the things you and I talked about earlier as well, Elijah, everybody wanted this to happen and then made it happen. You don't enter into these things lightly when it's that much money for any coach in any sport. And so to have done this is a very big deal. There are some buyouts in there. If Dawn were to leave for another college job, she would owe Carolina whatever is left. If Carolina were to fire her for whatever reason, and I don't know what that would look like.
At this point, I don't think it's within the realm of possibility.
You lost in the quarterfinal of the SEC tournament. You're out. No, I'm kidding. But if Carolina were to fire her, they would owe her whatever is left on the contract. If she leaves for a WNBA or NBA job, then she would owe nothing. So that's built in there for a reason as well. Is that likely? Don't know.
No.
Don't know. Again, I think she wants to win some more championships. She's got, an amazing roster. Obviously, we know that. That's, duh, is kind of how you might reply to that. But, she doesn't sign a deal like this because she is just daring Carolina to see if they'll pay it.
Right. Two parties sign on to this, right? And you have to be a willing participant to be able to sign on.
She does this because she wants to stay. I think this is a heck of a commitment.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Donati is obviously behind this now. Coach Tanner got that ball rolling. But Jeremiah said in his statement about this, Dawn Staley is a once-in-a-generation coach who has made a tremendous impact on the University of South Carolina. She has elevated the sport of women's basketball on the national level and here on campus, and I am excited that she will be representing our university for many years to come. And Dawn said the following, quote, I'm proud to represent the University of South Carolina and of its investment in women's basketball. What we've been able to accomplish on the court is a testament to what can happen when you bring together the right people from a team perspective, but also have the right commitment from the university, the athletics department, and the community to providing that team with everything it needs to be successful. Again, and our buddy David Cloninger reporting, if she terminates the contract beforehand, she owes the amount remaining unless she takes a job in the pros. So
she touched on something that I think is one of the biggest takeaways, at least the ones biggest takeaway I have from this. South Carolina is investing in the sport of women's college basketball, which is now more vital to do, considering that it will become more of a revenue generator for schools now that they are sharing TV money by participating in the postseason, right? I think now you lock up Dawn Staley for a long time, for the foreseeable future, and you start getting the money from the success that you're having in the women's college basketball NCAA tournament. You're going to see that investment pay off really, really well. Already has, because now you've won 3 national championships. You've been to 6 Final Fours. You have turned this program to heights I don't think anybody, 20 years ago could have ever envisioned for the University of South Carolina. But now there is more money in the game. There is more to be won in the sport of women's college basketball, and South Carolina making that commitment to her as well as her to them.
Right.
It can be very financially beneficial for the entire athletic department.
Reading from the ESPN report about that very topic, in the first year, $15 million will be awarded to teams out of the fund, 26% of the women's basketball media revenue deal. That will grow to $25 million, or 41% of revenue, by 2028. The 26% is on par with what men's basketball teams received the first year the Performance Units program was established. And I don't know that teams will get like a check in April for this tournament. From what I understand,
it takes a few years.
Yeah, it begins to roll over, and then they figure it out, and then they start to distribute this. But again, you're looking at 41% of revenue within the next 3 years. This deal for Dawn runs for a minimum of 5, and this is just a new 5-year deal. I mean, they could roll this thing over again in a couple of years, depending on what it looks like. And Dawn is, I think, 54. So she's going to be around a while. She loves what she's doing. She obviously has not lost the zeal for competing or recruiting.
Clearly not.
And let's face it, part of recruiting is competing. So there's that. And nor her zeal for, again, selling her program, her image, and what she does for the sport. So, again, huge deal today here in Columbia. Congratulations to Dawn Staley. And, by the way, her team won by 18 points last night in Tuscaloosa. Big performance from Joyce Edwards in the fourth quarter. We talked about it a little bit earlier, too. A game where on multiple occasions, Alabama got close, 5, 6, 7 points, but never really felt like they were threatening South Carolina, because almost instantly the Gamecocks would run it back to 8, 9, 10. And then by the middle of the fourth quarter, you could just tell that Bama was really running out of steam. South Carolina still had plenty of life, especially defensively.
Yeah.
Just making Alabama take some bad shots.
Losing the war of attrition at that point.
Yeah, and Carolina wore them down and, again, won by 18. But I know you're intrigued by this matchup Sunday.
Very intrigued. If you like high possession basketball, teams that play really up-tempo, Oklahoma is one of the teams for you. And South Carolina shows that they can play up-tempo too. When you have the guards that Carolina does and the three-point shooting prowess that someone like a Tahina Powpow and Tessa Johnson provide you, it makes for really entertaining basketball. Oklahoma shoots a ton of threes. They're in the top 5 in the country in possessions. And arguably the most entertaining women's college basketball games I've watched this year, or just college basketball games in general. Oklahoma, Tennessee earlier this year, 2 teams that do the exact same thing. Oklahoma bit like a 20-point lead. Tennessee erased it in the span of a quarter and got it down to where it went down to the final shot to determine the winner. That really produced an environment for exciting basketball, and that's exactly what Oklahoma will bring. Now, Oklahoma just doesn't have the depth that South Carolina has. They got some players, including Reagan Beers, who South Carolina saw it last year
Right.
in the Elite Eight
Right.
for Oregon State. That was one of the prized players in the transfer portal this offseason.
That whole roster went somewhere else.
Oh, they all
didn't it?
dispersed.
Yeah, got
Yeah. I mean, that was poor Oregon State in women's college basketball and Washington State in men's college basketball made NCAA tournament appearances and got eviscerated in the portal after the Pac-12 itself got eviscerated. But Reagan Beers is one of the better post players in the country. So this game provides multiple challenges for Dawn's team, right? Can you stop Reagan Beers in the post, a dominant post player, something you struggled with in your loss to UCLA, but showed you could bounce back against TCU? And can you be able to combat a team that is constantly looking to push the ball up and down the floor and try to gain an advantage by using the three-point line? So this game, well, I don't think Oklahoma is near the caliber South Carolina is. It just presents Carolina with multiple different challenges that the average team in the SEC won't present to you.
Which Dawn is going to be eaten up. She loves that.
Has to.
Loves that.
Oh, I bet she is amped for this. I mean, it's
and as soon as they get in trouble one time and she doesn't call timeout, she'll love it even more.
Love it even more. Exactly.
That's what she does.
She is
You
definitely
got into it. Get out of it.
my favorite. One of my favorite things about Dawn, she's in the Phil Jackson school of you guys are the ones out there on the
Yeah,
floor.
you're
Me
playing.
calling a timeout and yelling at you ain't going to do anything. You figure it out. You figure the mess out on the floor, not here on the bench with me.
By the way, on Dawn, our good friend Lulu Kesson tweeted out that apparently at today's shoot-around press conference, another good friend, David Cloniger, asked Dawn, you taking us all out for supper after this? Dawn's reply, yeah, without a doubt, every day.
Man, hate to miss out on that one.
There's that. Yeah, you should have
Dinner's on Dawn, yeah.
Should have gone to today's presser.
Because I know you'd be eating good.
Yeah. Well, Dawn can cook too, I think.
Really?
I think. I don't know.
She
I think
should
she
release a cookbook.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. I would buy it.
I'll work with her on that. But no, good stuff. Once again, congratulations to Dawn Staley. All right, we'll come back on the other side. That's our Integrated Media headlines of the day, brought to you by Integrated Media and Pro Swing.
I know somebody who knows about
What
that.
if we called it the Pro Swing headlines of the day today? Just today only.
An honorary sponsorship for the segment. I like that. Yeah, the Pro Swing headlines of the day.
Yeah. If you come in here too and you go like, man, the AV in here is really cool. It was done by Integrated Media. I know that.
Of course.
Yeah, I know for a fact.
We are journalists, Big J journalists. We know we have verified those sources.
That's right. That's right. So we might talk to one of those guys too in a little bit. Where's Evan?
A primary source, if you will.
A lot more to do on this Friday afternoon. We'll come back. Elijah breaks down tomorrow's trip for the Gamecock men against Oklahoma. And again, coming up inside of 20 minutes, we will be playing the Wild Card Showdown special edition today with a bonus game, a bonus guest picker, and golf up for grabs at Pro Swing for the winner. It is the Friday post-game show.
Let's play the game.
Yeah.
Guess who put on the wrong headset?
That was me. Sorry.
That was Jay Phillips.
Sorry.
If you guessed Jay Phillips, then congratulations. You're the winner of today's game of Guess Who Put On the Wrong Headset.
Eventually, this kind of music will be here when they have like rave night at Pro Swing.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'm not sure they're going to.
Oh, we loves the wave night.
But they should.
That's Pro
yeah.
Swing.
Like 2 bays will be like dance party.
Oh yeah.
And then 2 bays for golf.
But a silent disco, they all get to wear the headphones and everything.
All that kind of stuff. That'd be all right.
But right now they're bumping Air Supply instead. So I think that's a fair trade-off.
It's not quite the same, is it?
Not quite the same, but it hits just the same. This song rules. Man.
This is a good one.
This is a good one.
This was big when it I remember Air Supply was big, man, when I was like, I don't know, 13, 12, 14, I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark. They were pretty big.
Oh, they're awesome.
I guess this is now part of the yacht rock genre.
This is, yeah. Have you seen the Yacht Rock documentary on HBO
No,
yet?
but
I want to. I really want to because I'm a big fan of Yacht Rock.
Well, my friend Will King, our former colleague Will King, who you know well,
who provided me with a delicious meal.
Yeah, Will, that's right.
Scrumptious.
Will
swinging sirloin.
Will,
I'll never forget.
Will said to check it out. So if Will says so, then I should do it.
I trust him.
Welcome back in, Jay and Elijah with you. Grand opening of Pro Swing. Here, we'll get Michael on here real quick while we're here. Go ahead, put these on. Michael Geddes is with us.
Make sure we can hear him.
A great friend of the station, and yeah, we can.
Yes,
we hear you just fine.
See, Jay put that headset on, and there was nothing coming out.
I put the wrong one. Well, I just didn't turn the thing up.
Yeah.
That was my fault. I'm IT-ish. You know, ish.
IT light.
He
can open a PDF.
I may or may not at one point in
That's
time have gotten into it with a former engineer of ours who was telling me about 30 seconds before air one time after I had used this particular box for probably like 400 shows during COVID of how to use it. And I may or may not have snapped at him in front of a bunch of people at a remote but anyway, there's that. It may or may not have happened. It could be fictional. I don't know. But we thank Michael in just a minute is going to be our guest picker, and we're going to be pulling 2 from the throng of people that are here today. It's going great, man. No, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. This place rules.
That's cool. Let me turn Michael up a little bit there. There we go. All right, it's a little better. There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah,
that sounds a whole lot better. Thank you, sir. All right, let's talk a little bit about the game tomorrow. Again, Carolina at Oklahoma. We'll have it at 3:30, 4 o'clock tip. Both teams 0-4, so somebody gets their first conference victory.
Yeah, somebody has to win, and that's what makes this the Desperation Bowl. And look, Oklahoma has the film's out that if you put Colin Murray Boyles in a phone booth, he'll turn the ball over and he can struggle. That's where he struggled mostly this year. And I'm sure they watched that Vanderbilt tape and salivated by seeing exactly where those turnovers were happening. Oklahoma was one of the more aggressive defenses in college basketball. They blitz almost every ball screen. They stopped blitzing ball screens in the first half against Texas because Texas tore them up from the outside. And wisely, they changed up that coverage a little bit. They got it back into the game. But how are your guards going to handle blitzing ball screens? Guys that are going to, you get a ball screen, they're going to push you out in your half court and make you have to make a tough lob pass. They forced Texas to do a lot of that. But Texas got about 3 dudes that can move the ball really well at the guard position. This is going to be a big game for Morris Ugasuk to be able to prove that he can handle the ball. All those pocket passes him and Jacoby tried to make that were getting deflected and tipped and incomplete and ended up resulting in turnovers. Those are the same passes that are going to be available that you're going to have to make against a really aggressive defense on Saturday.
Well, we talked to Alan Cole the other day, and I asked him, before the Vanderbilt game, does this team, as it is currently constructed roster-wise, down Stute and down Thomas, does it need to just begin to learn to live like this? And it would certainly appear that the answer is yes. With Miles, we simply do not know because of his condition with blood clots. That's very serious, and you must get that completely fixed before he can go back out there and do anything.
Can't rush it.
And then with Thomas, Alan said he was hearing, and I know you've heard some of this too, probably maybe the first week of February, but probably a little bit longer than that. Yeah. By then, how many games have you played? So this is who you are now. You're not as deep. You weren't that deep to begin with in terms of who you wanted to rely on. And yet, again, I find it ironic that this team has played so much better basketball. And Allen even said addition by subtraction.
He did.
And I know he didn't mean it as a slam, more of just necessity kind of bore this out. So how different is this team in your estimation without those guys in terms of what Lamont is asking them to do?
It's different because you're making guys who at the beginning of the year are going to have to play roles that they weren't either ready to do or they didn't think they maybe had the capability of when they put the, initially created the starting lineup. Like Morris is going to have to do some point guard duty. He's going to have to handle the ball as a primary ball handler a lot more. That's why I think you saw them run actions to get him to the rim against Vanderbilt. You're going to see a lot more of that. Jacoby's going to have to be able to facilitate a lot more of the offense. I know Jacoby's had some bright spots this year, being able to get to his spots off the dribble, but now he's going to be asked to make more post-entry passes, to be able to run off, off ball screens. You have to do everything. And Arden Conyers is probably the biggest example of this. Going into the Auburn game, Jay, he played a combined 32 minutes in the season. He had to play 30 minutes against Auburn. And then he gave you a lot of minutes.
And he played well, man.
And he's played really well. I think Arden Conyers will end up being one of the most important players on this team because he's going to take Miles Stude's position of 3-and-D guy. He's going to draw some really difficult defensive assignments this year. When you play Texas, he's probably going to be one of the guys guarding Trey Johnson. When you play Florida, he's going to be one of the guys guarding Elijah Martin or Walter Clayton on a screen. Like he's going to draw some really tough defensive assignments. But I think, if there's a reason to be excited about this team, I know there's not much because you're 0-4 and you've discovered new ways to lose. Like Edison found new ways to be, to invent new stuff. Arden Conyers being a little bit of a revelation is a plus, right? You can keep him locked in for next year. You can see his game grow right now, and he can develop into a player who plays a vitally important role by guarding other teams' best guards and being able to knock down threes. That you can discover a little bit more about yourself in this game through that.
What scares you the most about Oklahoma in terms of let's take Wednesday by itself for Carolina. Yeah. All right. What scares you the most about Oklahoma does to keep Carolina winless?
Their aggressiveness on defense. Now, they don't necessarily have the same turnover numbers that Vanderbilt did coming into it, but they are, top 70 unit in the country in terms of forcing turnovers. And then when you get into conference play, they're still kind of pedestrian. But what they do is make you use a lot of the shot clock because they can be really aggressive. Against Texas, the entire game, they are blitzing ball screens. They are, and thankfully for South Carolina, they don't utilize a lot of those to begin with. But at some point, you're going to have to give teams looks that you haven't shown anybody because offensively, you got to figure something out. What you're doing isn't working. Maybe that includes more ball screens. And if that's the case, the reason Texas was able to eat up Oklahoma in that first half is they have guys like Jordan Pope, experienced guard with legit ball handling skills, who was able to pick them apart a couple times. Caden Shedrick as a center would catch on the short roll, make a really good pass. Arthur Kaluma's played a lot of basketball. Julian Larry and Tremont Mark have played a lot of college basketball. Experienced players who've played against aggressive defenses for 3-4 seasons. It's a little different with this team because Morris has not been a primary ball handler for a college basketball team for more than a game.
Yeah.
Jacoby Wright, that's never really been his role, but
right.
He's going to have to figure out how to be able to do that and kind of take over that offensive leadership role that Talon Cooper played last year. Doing that against a team that at least has length and is very aggressive on defense gives me a ton of concern about how they protect the ball.
Yeah, I do like. I know maybe I dwell on this guy more than I should, but I just think there's still so much room for growth for Morris in a lot of different areas.
For
sure.
Sure.
That continues to come his way. And last thing on this game, is this as much tomorrow about Lamont stressing to his guys to pay attention to what they're doing as much as anything else about how they play? Your ability is your ability.
Yes.
But when you hamper yourself with things that are, again, the controllables part, they didn't.
Yeah.
Again, they found ways to lose because they played more than well enough to win.
Yeah.
That to me seems like the message tomorrow is, guys, just don't do the stupid stuff.
Yeah, don't do stupid stuff. And some of the things are so correctable, and they're timing things, right? Like when I went back and rewatched the Vanderbilt game, a couple of the turnovers especially from Morris, were on the pick and roll, making a pocket pass, right? So when you take the ball screen, you have maybe a slight window from where the player that was guarding you is screened, and you have space in between you and that defender, and the screener rolling to the basket, in this case it was Nick, has a step on the player that was guarding him. So you have a slight window. That ball has to get through that window and get into Nick's hands. And if it does, you're dunking the ball or you're shooting a layup or Nick's kicking it out to the corner if the help defense rotates over and meets him in the paint. But instead, the pass was a little too slow. You could almost tell like Morris kind of hesitated to make the pass, makes the pass. So it's now, instead of being a clean window, that window is closed where there are hands there to deflect the pass, and the pass is at Nick's feet. So not only was it a little late, it was off target. That's timing and repetition, right? You got to be able to fix some of those small details to be able to ultimately stack up points in a game.
3:30 tomorrow, airtime, 4 o'clock tip. Derek and Judge Manning on the call. Gamecocks in Oklahoma. One of them, when it's done, will have their first conference win of the season. And if it's OU, their first SEC win ever. So Gamecock fans hope that continues a little bit longer. Come back on the other side. We'll play the wild card showdown with a special prize up for grabs. It's the postgame show live at Pro Swing.
From the WIS Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. A few accidents to get to that are causing some issues on the roadways. We will start, though, with some stop-and-go traffic, not accident-related, but it is causing a severe traffic backup on I-26 eastbound between Lake Murray Boulevard and your exit 102 and I-20, your exit 107B. We also have accidents on Atlas Road near South Carolina 768 Shop Road, Buckner Road at Monticello Road, Claudia Drive at Humphrey Street, Farrow Road, Highway 555 near Hardscrabble Road, Forest Drive near I-77, Highway 1 at Augusta Road at Pisgah Church Road, Highway 6 at I-77 and Veterans Road, I-26 eastbound at I-20 near exit 107B, Killian Road at I-77, Old Hilton Road at Chapin Road, Purcell Road, Highway 12 near Forest Drive, Trenham Road at Two Notch Road, and lastly, thankfully, US 378 at I-77.
All right, welcome back in. Ed Bird, I'll get you to cue the band here in just a second. It won't technically be a drive around the SEC today. We've done that. It'll be instead the Wild Card Showdown. And as we said, we are the place is packed. So we have today we've decided on a great day like this to bring two people in that are here enjoying some golf at Pro Swing. We got RA and we got Ken, and they're sharing a microphone. So RA, how you doing?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Good.
Put him on there. There you go. Ken, how are you?
I'm well.
All right. Good to have you all on here. And Michael Geddes is our celebrity picker. Yeah.
Pressure's on.
No, you're good.
It's the most loaded wild card showdown I think we have had.
And because of the weekend being both big for the pros, which is typical,
Yes.
and now we have a college championship this late, we're going to play all of them. And we're going to have prop bets. So we have a bonus game structured in. And again, if RA or Ken can beat us, you don't have to worry about Geddes. All right. Then you guys get your choice of a free hour of golf at Golf Zone, or as we told them, you get a free tour of Bill Gunter's house.
Oh, yeah, we threw that one in there.
Yeah.
We didn't have to pass that by anybody.
Now one is a $65 value.
I'll give you the key if you sweep the board. If you win all of them, I'll give you the key to his house.
One,
Go with mud on my shoes in there.
now, he didn't care.
Oh, with zero res, I think he can get it clean.
That's right. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, Gunner's always got mud on his shoes coming out of the lake. He sleeps in it. He doesn't mind RA. But again, one of those is worth $65 and the other is not. And I will let you guys determine which one is which. All right. RA, I'm going to start with you. We got Ohio State, an 8-point favorite over Notre Dame on Monday night for the college title.
As much as I hated Ohio State.
Ohio State. All right. Ken, same game.
I've got to go Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, says Ken. All right. Michael Geddes.
I don't like either one of these teams.
No.
Ohio State.
Ohio State minus the points. Elijah Campbell.
Yeah, give me my Ohio State minus the 8. I think they should probably win by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I think they roll.
I'm going back and forth because the logic says Ohio State just clamps down on a Notre Dame offense that cannot score points. But I like the 8 points. I don't know if Notre Dame wins, but
I just don't know how they score.
I know. It's something weird or something on defense. Maybe something like what happened with Georgia.
A little bit of voodoo magic.
Something, I don't know.
If you have some left in that voodoo magic
some
bag,
leprechaun runs
you
across
use
the
it.
field
Yes.
and steals the ball. I don't know. You know what? Give me. I'm going to do it. Notre Dame plus the 8.
Believes in the luck of the Irish.
We'll
Those
see.
big fellas.
We'll see. Or maybe my good friend Peter Brown has just influenced me too much. I don't know yet. We'll find out. All right, guys, to the NFL we go. Ken, I'll start with you on this one. Kansas City is an 8-point favorite at home over Houston.
Easy. KC.
KC. All right. KC for Ken. RA, same game.
I never bet against Andy Reid.
All right. Kansas City. Michael Geddes.
Mahomes by a mile.
Kansas City. Elijah Campbell.
The team that has won 11 one-score games this year, you're asking me to say if they're going to win a one-score game or not at home? I'm taking him anyway, though. Fine, against my better
Yeah,
judgment.
we're going clean sweep on that one. I have Kansas City to cover that one as well. Michael Geddes, I'll start with you this time. Detroit at home, 9.5-point favorites over Washington.
I want the Lions to not pull the Lions, but I think they'll wait till the championship game. So give me the Lions.
Lions to cover big.
It'd be cool if they won the Super Bowl.
All right. RA, again, Detroit minus 9.5 at home.
I'm gonna take the Commanders.
All right, taking Washington. All right, Ken.
Detroit Rock City.
Detroit. Look at you. Where's Kiss when you need him, right? All right. I'll you know what? Detroit's going to win this game, but Jaden and Washington are going to make it uncomfortable. So I'm going to take Washington plus the points, but Lions will win. Elijah Campbell.
I love Jaden Daniels, one of my favorite players to watch in the National Football League, but a rookie quarterback against a 15-win regular season team? Absolutely not. Lions win by at least 2 scores.
Detroit, says Elijah. All right. Michael Geddes, I'll start with you. Philadelphia, 6.5-point favorites at home over the Rams.
Eagles.
The Eagles fly high. Elijah Campbell.
I think the Eagles win by 3 points. LA is going to make this hairy for them. I think the Rams cover, but the Eagles.
You know what? Everything you just said, I'm just going to copy because I agree. I think LA is in good. They're in. Well, it is. I'm sorry, but I'll pay you
I
a
respect
royalty.
it. Yeah.
But I think the Rams. I think the Rams keep this one close and make Philadelphia uncomfortable. The Eagles find a way late. RA, what do you think?
I'm gonna take the points in the Rams.
Taking the Rams.
Cup and Puka are gonna get it done.
All right.
Puka's a monster.
There you
man.
go.
That guy's so
LA
good.
on that one.
Great hair too.
That's right.
Unfortunately for me, the Philadelphians.
All right. You want Philly? All right. Philly, says Ken. All right. Last one. Baltimore, 1-point favorite at Buffalo. Ken, I'll start with you.
You can't go against Lamar Jackson.
Taking
Taking
Lamar.
the Ravens.
Taking Lamar. All right. RA.
I watched some Baltimore, and if I pick anything else, I'm in deep trouble.
All right. There you go.
Smart man.
Baltimore's a fine town.
RA's wife brings a Ravens koozie to the
Nice.
to Bruce Wing and Jacob.
Nice.
So
Nice. All right. Elijah Campbell.
At the beginning of the year, I picked Baltimore and Detroit to play in the Super Bowl, and I'm sticking to my guns. Give me the Ravens.
This comes down to so much. I sometimes think we overblow this, but legacy. This is a legacy game.
It is, yeah.
To
I think
some
it is.
degree. These two quarterbacks have become two of the best in the business. I'm with all of y'all right now. Baltimore's time to shine, man. Lamar's got to go get it done. Road, home, whatever. I think he will. Baltimore to win the game. What do you think?
forgot about the guy named last name Henry.
Yes.
He's going to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're going to win.
Baltimore. All right. So we
They
got
literally have Sasquatch as a running back.
clean sweep on the Ravens. All right, guys. So now wild card time. Instead of games, we have props. All right. So Ken, your prop is Patrick Mahomes. All right. Over under 250 and a half passing yards. Over under 250 and a half for Mahomes. Under? All right. Under, says
Good call.
Ken. All right. RA, yours is total offense for Jaden Daniels of Washington. Over under 295 and a half total offense for Jaden.
Under.
Okay. Under. All right. Michael Geddes. Over under 36 and a half rushing yards for Riley Leonard, Notre Dame's quarterback.
Over.
Over. All right. Elijah Campbell. Over under 113 and a half rush yards for Saquon.
I'm
That's a
gonna
lot of
go,
yards.
It is, but he's cleared that in 4 of his last 5 games. Oh, heavens. You know what? Fortune favors the bold. I'm going over.
Over. All right. And I have got over under 281 and a half total offense for Lamar. And I picked him to win. I'm going to go slightly under. And I think Michael Geddes kind of influenced me with the Derrick Henry portion of things there. Maybe Lamar doesn't have to run as much. And then finally, guys, once again, a total offense, but this time you're making a number on your own, okay? Total offense for Josh Allen. Total offense for Josh Allen against the Ravens. Let everybody think about that for a minute. Total offense, Josh Allen. Michael Geddes goes first.
290.
290. All right. Ken.
220.
220. All right. Thinks Baltimore's going to be a lot of defense. RA.
350.
350. 350. Big night. Elijah Campbell.
285.
285.
$1, Bob.
Yeah. I'll go 272. 272. All right, there we go. All right, guys. RA, Ken, appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out here today. It's been a lot of fun, right? Yeah, it's been cool. All right, and again, you win. You can either play some golf here or go to Bill Gunner's house. It is totally your choice.
Both.
Yeah,
Do it if you lose anyway.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. We should say if you lose, you have to go to Bill Gunner's house, right?
Also true. Whoever finishes last has to have a sleepover.
Yeah, that's the thing. Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all. Good stuff. All right, that's the Wild Card Showdown. More from Pro Swing when we return. 11 minutes in front of 6 o'clock on this Friday. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show. Again, reminder of what's going on this weekend. Gamecocks at Oklahoma tomorrow. Men's basketball, 3:30 airtime, 4 o'clock tip from Norman. And then Dawn's team hosting Oklahoma on Sunday. Both of those will be heard on 107.5 The Game in Columbia. The men across the Gamecock Radio Network. And again, if you didn't hear, congratulations to Dawn Staley getting her new contract today. Could be worth more when it's all said and done, worth more than $25 million. Congrats to her, to the board.
It's a lot of money.
To Ray Tanner and Jeremiah Donati. The ball was rolling before the handoff, if you will. Jeremiah sees it across the goal line. And again, everybody wanted this to happen. So congrats to all. And a really big deal for Dawn and for the university. And again, we got the NFL games tomorrow. We got the college game on Monday. We won't be with you on Monday, so we'll have a complete reaction show on everything going on. Man, I don't know how we're going to fit it all in on Tuesday, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those are the days in this business that are the easiest ones.
Yeah.
When it's a whole weekend plus a day full of big basketball games, a national championship game, playoff games in the NFL.
Speaking of
Speaking
of Jeremiah Donati, Jeremiah will be live in studio with Elijah and me on Wednesday's program. So we will get to talk about this deal
with him
and the next deal and whatever else is going on. But he'll be with us for the bulk of the 3 o'clock hour on Wednesday's program. So we look forward to that. It's also very exciting here at Pro Swing. As y'all can tell with the ambient noise, it is absolutely packed in here, and we're having a lot of fun. And Michael Geddes is with us, who, of course, co-owner of Integrated Media and Pro Swing. Congratulations, sir. I know you love what is going on in Chapin with Pro Swing, and this ratchets it up, times 2 in terms of golf bays, but about times 10 in terms of just space and ability for folks to really hang out and enjoy, huh?
Yeah, this is pretty cool. For grand opening, how many people have come in, just checked us out today, so this has been fun.
What's your favorite course?
Casa de Campo.
Ooh,
it's in Dominican Republic.
Okay. That's
really
a deep
fun.
cut.
It's really fun to play. It's kind of on the ocean. It's not on the ocean.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best golfer, so I'm not out of bounds all the time.
There you go. I saw you hitting a little while ago. You did all right. You're doing good.
Getting old, the back hurts a little bit.
Yeah. Did Gunner play this morning, or did he run out?
He's talked about your golf game. I was thinking to myself, I don't think Gunner's even hit a golf ball in here.
No, he hasn't.
That's
okay.
That way you can't. He has to in front of you, so you can at least be able to tell on your own, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe Gunner and I should.
You guys, we could sponsor a Jay versus Gunner.
That would be fun.
18 holes. That'd be good.
That would be fun.
Commentate on the entire thing. We have a streaming platform. Thankfully, that Michael has helped us with.
Heckling is allowed. Yeah. We should do that.
Heckling is.
We should. No, in all seriousness, you know what? We should probably have like a 107.5 and Integrated Media Pro Swing staff tournament thing.
Oh, that'd be fun.
We could do that, right?
That's a great idea.
And maybe we'll bring the Central boys along.
Yeah, I will finish in last.
That's okay.
But the best part about doing this here is I can't lose any golf balls.
I don't know. Terry's on the staff, so I think
also true too. It's a battle for the cellar, baby. It might not be me after all. It might not.
But seriously, memberships.
We have memberships.
Walk in.
I don't know about walk in because we're already almost full.
You're full.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So on the weekends, please go online on our website, proswingcolumbia.com. Check out our Facebook. Instagram page. We got all kinds of promos and stuff going. But book online, call us. Nathan's answering the phone, so be kind. He's got a baby at home and a 2-year-old at home.
He does.
But he's answering the phone, getting people booked. But it's awesome. It's so much fun. I know a lot of the people in here have been to our Chapin store. They've driven out there to play. So they're so excited to have this out here.
Well, and where this is too, we've talked about it. I mean, this is so convenient. I mean, this area, is vibrant. It's been that way a long time.
We're close to Clemson Road. We're close to Elgin. We're close to Blythewood. We got all of downtown.
I mean, downtown's right there. The fort right here. I mean, so I guarantee
we're
you,
excited. We're doing military discount, of course.
Yeah, and the guys at the fort are gonna love this place, man.
Just wait till one of them fraternity brothers comes and finds us. There's going to be a lot of guys in here.
It'll become a staple at
Yeah.
that point.
I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We're going to do leagues down here. We got tournaments going on. Man, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, no, it's great, and if it's a weekend, I mean, they've got it's look again. These guys are integrated media
rubbed off
too,
of our
man.
heads.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
we got 98-inch TVs in here. We got 65-inch TVs.
you got a ton of them. You got
We've
like
got-
20 TVs in here, man.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. We've got, of course, ESPN Plus to watch the ladies' games if they're not on the normal channel.
Right.
All the baseball games. You guys want a little deep cut on the sports?
Nice,
You want it? We can put it on for you.
nice.
Oh, love that.
I could probably even watch Arsenal if I wanted to.
Sure, come on.
All right.
We can
If-
log in with your Paramount. Okay.
Actually, we should ban him from that. We should ban him from being able to watch Arsenal.
Yeah,
Hey, you never know. On Saturday mornings, we may have like a little group of guys coming in to play.
That could be fun. Don't tempt me.
Right.
Ed Bird, thank you, sir, for all you did for us back in the studio. Always fun to have Langston. Michael, thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Great to have Tyler Thigpen stop by, too. Y'all have a great holiday weekend. Enjoy all of it. We'll see you Tuesday on the Postgame Show.